You think you know how Camilla became queen. You don't. In 2005, the public was promised, in writing, she never would be. And that promise carried a flaw almost no one noticed. Here is the exact line Clarence House released that February. Read it. It is intended that Mrs. Parker Bowles should use the title, HRH The Princess Consort, when the Prince of Wales accedes to the throne. Princess Consort, not Queen. That was the understanding the public was handed and accepted. Now, a former government minister, Norman Baker, has dragged the whole story back into daylight. And the day William becomes king, he inherits the one instrument that could put the original promise back. But first, the receipt. 2005 Princess Consort 2022, Queen Consort 2023, simply Queen. 3 steps, 18 years, not one public vote. By the end of this video, you'll see every step, the man who exposed the approach behind them, and the single page that reverses it all. Number 1, February 10th, 2005. Clarence House released the promise. The country accepted it. The engagement was announced on February 10th, 2005. Charles and Camilla would marry, and because the country still remembered Diana, because the country still hadn't forgiven, Clarence House attached a condition. Camilla would not be called queen. She would use the style Princess Consort. There is no legal or historical precedent for that title. It had never existed. It was invented for Camilla alone because the palace knew the country wouldn't accept Queen Camilla 7 years after Diana died in a tunnel in Paris. The promise wasn't a law. It wasn't an act of parliament. It was a press release. But the country read it. The country believed it. And the country moved on, thinking the line was drawn. Diana's memory was protected. Camilla would never carry the word queen. That was the deal. And the country shook hands on it because the country still loved Diana, still mourned Diana, still believed the institution owed Diana's memory that much, a single word that Camilla would never carry. Queen. The country traded forgiveness for that word, and the institution took the forgiveness and kept the word. And here's where the deal started to crack, quietly, without a vote. Number 2, the promise had no legal force, and Charles knew it. Constitutional experts confirmed it immediately. Under English common law, the wife of the king is automatically queen. No press release changes that. No statement from Clarence House overrides centuries of precedent. The moment Charles became king, Camilla was queen, legally, automatically, regardless of what Clarence House promised in 2005. The promise was a gesture, a political decision designed to manage public anger. It calmed the country long enough for Charles to marry Camilla. But it was never binding. It was never legislated. And the man who issued it knew, from the first day, that it could be overwritten without Parliament ever being consulted. Diana was promised things too. She was promised a fairy tale. She was promised a partnership. And every promise made to Diana was quietly rewritten when it became inconvenient. Camilla's Princess Consort promise was rewritten the same way, by the same institution, using the same method. Number 3, Norman Baker is a former government minister. He served inside the machine. Norman Baker served as the Liberal Democrat MP for Lewis from 1997 to 2015. He was appointed Minister of State for Crime Prevention at the Home Office in October 2013, a senior government position with direct access to the machinery of Whitehall. He sat inside the system that processes royal communications, exemptions, and constitutional instruments. He saw how the palace communicated with government departments. He watched how royal lobbying operated behind closed doors. And when he left, he started talking. His book, Royal Mint National Debt, examined royal finances with forensic detail. His Republic Day 2026 speech at Trafalgar Square on May 9th was titled, "The Royals Never Give Anything Back." His Follow the Money interview in May 2026 crossed hundreds of thousands of views in 12 days. Baker isn't a tabloid pundit. He's a former Home Office minister who served in the same government that received Charles's spider letters. When Baker says the palace rewrites its own rules without legislation, he's speaking from experience. He watched it happen from inside the building. I really want to get to number 8. That's the one where Elizabeth's sincere wish letter rewrote the 2005 promise without a single piece of legislation. But first, 4 through 7, because those are the spider letters. And the spider letters show you the playbook Charles used before he used it on Camilla's title. Number 4, Charles wrote 27 political letters to government ministers. They were called the Spider Memos. Between 2004 and 2005, Charles wrote to ministers across multiple government departments about farming policy, architecture, healthcare, education, and the environment. Some letters had direct relevance to his Duchy of Cornwall agricultural interests, creating an undeclared conflict of interest. The letters were nicknamed Black Spider Memos because of his scrawled, angular handwriting. They weren't casual notes. They were political advocacy from a future king to elected officials. The Guardian newspaper fought for a decade to force their release under the Freedom of Information Act. They won the case at the Supreme Court. The letters were published in 2015, and the country saw something it was never supposed to see: the heir to the throne behaving like a political lobbyist while claiming constitutional neutrality. Diana saw Charles's need for control up close. She lived with it for 15 years inside the palace walls, and now the public finally had the receipts. Number 5, when the letters were published, Charles didn't apologize. He changed the law. Think about that for 1 second. Most people, caught lobbying from a position of constitutional neutrality, would apologize. Charles lobbied Parliament to change the Freedom of Information Act. The palace successfully pushed for a blanket exemption covering all communications between government and the monarch or immediate heir. No public interest test, no appeals process, a total prohibition on release for 20 years after creation or 5 years after the monarch's death, whichever is later. Baker confirmed this in his Substack. Successful lobbying by the palace led the government to change the rules and give blanket exemption under the act to the monarch and immediate heir, with no public interest test able to be applied. He didn't fix the behavior. He sealed the evidence. Diana tried to tell the truth about what happened inside the palace. They called her paranoid. Charles tried to hide the truth about what he wrote to ministers. They changed the law for him. Same institution, same method, different outcomes for the people who wouldn't stay quiet. And honestly, that method, changing the rules after getting caught, is exactly the method that turned Princess Consort into Queen. Number 6. The 2005 promise stayed intact for 17 years. Nobody challenged it. From April 2005 to February 2022, the Princess Consort commitment sat on the public record. Clarence House never officially retracted it. No minister questioned it. No act of parliament addressed it. The country assumed the deal held. 17 years. Through Diana's 10th anniversary. Through William's wedding. Through George and Charlotte's births. Through the Panorama scandal. Through 17 years of Camilla's rehabilitation campaign, Operation PB, which gradually softened her image through charity work, strategic photographs, and carefully managed press coverage. The promise survived all of it. Camilla attended Trooping the Color in 2005, not as queen. She attended state dinners, not as queen. She stood beside Charles at engagements, not as queen. For 17 years, the country looked at Camilla and thought, at least she won't be queen. Diana's memory held the line, until Elizabeth picked up a pen. Number 7. The palace forced the BBC to apologize. After Baker questioned the Duchy on air, Baker appeared on Republic, a program questioning royal finances, and challenged Charles's claim that the Duchy of Cornwall was a private estate. He argued it was public property. Baker said St. James's Palace contacted the BBC shortly after the segment and demanded an apology. According to Baker, the broadcaster complied. If true, it tells you how the palace operates when challenged, not through courts, not through public debate, but through phone calls to editorial offices. The same back-channel pressure that sealed the spider letters, the same method that would later rewrite Camilla's title. Diana faced the same machinery. When she spoke to Martin Bashir in 1995, the palace responded with a media campaign that painted her as unstable. When Baker spoke on the BBC, the palace responded with a demand for retraction. The pattern is consistent. Silence the challenge, then change the record. Stay with me. I really want to get to number 12. The letter's patent instrument William inherits on his first day as king. But first, 8 through 11, because those are the 3 steps that turned a press release promise into a coronation crown, and not one of them involved a vote. Number 8, February 6, 2022. Elizabeth's sincere wish letter rewrote the promise. The Queen's Accession Day message, marking 70 years on the throne, included one sentence. It is my sincere wish that when that time comes, Camilla will be known as Queen Consort. 7 words, sincere wish, Queen Consort, not Princess Consort. The 2005 promise was overwritten in a single paragraph of a Jubilee letter. No legislation, no debate, no public consultation. Elizabeth's wish carried no legal force. Camilla was already queen under common law, but it carried moral authority, and it gave Charles the political cover to drop Princess Consort permanently. Let me say that again. The deal the country was offered in 2005 was undone by one sentence in a Jubilee letter. Diana's memory was promised protection through a title restriction. That restriction was lifted with a pen. Number 9, September 8, 2022. Charles became king. Camilla became Queen Consort automatically. The moment Elizabeth died, Camilla was Queen Consort under common law. No ceremony required, no confirmation needed. The 2005 press release was irrelevant. The sincere wish letter was irrelevant. The law did what the law always does. She was styled Her Majesty the Queen Consort. The consort distinction, keeping a thin line between Camilla and the late Elizabeth. But even that thin line was temporary. The same institution that stripped Diana of HRH in 1996, forcing Diana to curtsy to her own children, gave Camilla the title Her Majesty automatically. No vote, no debate, no curtsy required. Just the law doing what Charles always knew it would do the moment he became king. Number 10, April 2023. The coronation invitation dropped consort entirely, just Queen Camilla. Buckingham Palace released the coronation invitation in April 2023 and used the styling Queen Camilla, no consort. That single word vanished. The final step in an 18-year escalation that began with a press release promising the country Camilla would never be queen. Princess Consort became Queen Consort became queen. 3 titles, 18 years, 0 legislation, 0 public votes, 0 debate in the House of Commons. Debrett's confirmed the change. The word they used was quietly shelved. Quietly. Not debated, not legislated, not voted upon. Shelved. Like a library book nobody wanted to check out anymore. Diana's name wasn't on the coronation invitation. Diana's memory wasn't acknowledged in the ceremony. Diana's promise, the one the country was offered in exchange for accepting Camilla, was gone. Replaced by the 2 words the country was told it would never hear. Queen Camilla. Number 11, Baker's core claim. The same man who changed FOI law changed the title without a vote. This is the connection Baker draws. Charles lobbied to change the FOI Act after the spider letters were exposed, successfully. He sealed his own correspondence from the public. Then the same institution, using the same method of back-channel influence rather than open legislation, converted Princess Consort into Queen Consort and then into Queen without a single parliamentary debate. Baker's point is structural. When the palace wants to rewrite a commitment, it doesn't go to Parliament. It goes to the back channel. It goes to the letter. It goes to the quiet conversation that produces a public statement nobody questions. Diana knew this. She called the palace the enemy. She said there were 3 of us in this marriage. She understood before anyone that the institution rewrites its own history when the original version becomes inconvenient. Number 12, William inherits the letter's patent power on day 1. That's the instrument. The House of Commons Library confirms it. The style of His or Her Royal Highness is conferred by letters patent under the royal prerogative and can be removed by the same instrument. One document, one signature, no act of Parliament, no vote in the Commons, no debate in the Lords. Charles used letters patent to strip Prince Andrew's HRH in November 2025. The precedent is set, the mechanism is tested, the instrument is real. The same tool can restore Diana's HRH. The same tool can revise any title conferred under the prerogative, including the styling of a queen consort. William inherits this power the moment he becomes king. On day one, before the coronation, before the balcony, before the first state dinner. He holds the pen and the prerogative on the same morning he wakes up as king. And the boy who told Diana at 14 that he would restore her letters inherits the instrument that does it. Think about that for 1 second. The promise was broken with a pen. It can be restored with the same pen, and Diana's son will be holding it. Number 13, the country was never asked. That's Baker's sharpest point. No referendum, no parliamentary debate, no public consultation, no select committee inquiry. The title progression from princess consort to queen happened entirely within the royal household. Elizabeth's letter, Charles's accession, a coronation invitation, 3 internal acts. Baker's most devastating argument is simple. The country was offered a deal in 2005. The country accepted it, and the institution broke the deal without asking the country's permission. When Diana wanted to speak publicly about her marriage, she had to negotiate with the palace for permission to do the panorama interview. When Charles wanted to change Camilla's title, he didn't ask anyone. The asymmetry is the point. Diana needed permission to tell her truth. Charles didn't need permission to rewrite his promise, and the country that accepted the deal in 2005 was never consulted when the deal was broken. That asymmetry is the heart of everything Baker has exposed. Number 14. The public record now shows 3 titles in 18 years, all without legislation. 2005, Princess Consort. 2022, Queen Consort. 2023, Queen Camilla. The record is permanent. Anyone can trace it. And the gap between she will never be queen and Queen Camilla is 18 years of institutional maneuvering that Baker has laid bare for the public to see. The receipts exist. The timeline is documented. And Diana's son, who controls the duchy, the household, the letters patent, and the crown, inherits every instrument used to create those 3 titles, including the power to add a 4th, or to subtract the 3rd. The pen that wrote Queen Camilla on the coronation invitation is the same type of pen that could write Princess Consort on the next official document, and that pen will be in William's hand. Every title Camilla holds was given without legislation. Every title can be revised the same way. Number 15. William holds the pen, and the promise was made to his mother's country. This is where it all converges. The promise in 2005 wasn't made to Parliament. It wasn't made to a committee. It was made to the public, to the country that watched Diana's funeral and cried for a woman they'd never met, to the millions who left flowers outside Kensington Palace until the gates couldn't hold them. That promise said, Camilla will never be called queen. The promise was broken. Baker exposed the method, the same back-channel, no legislation rewriting that sealed the spider letters and changed the FOI Act. And the man who inherits the power to restore the original promise, the letters patent, the Privy Council, the royal prerogative, is Diana's eldest son. The boy who walked behind his mother's coffin at 15, the man who put Diana's sapphire on Catherine's finger and told the world, "This is my way of keeping her close to it all." The father who named his daughter Charlotte Elizabeth Diana, not Charlotte Elizabeth Camilla. He holds the pen now. He holds the prerogative, and the promise that was broken was made to his mother's country, not Camilla's. Those were the 15 facts Norman Baker exposed about how Charles turned a public promise into a title Camilla was never supposed to hold. From a 2005 press release, to spider letters, to a letters patent instrument waiting in William's desk. The promise was broken with a pen, and it can be restored with the same one. Princess Anne's 20 savage moves from inside the palace are the reason Camilla can feel every wall closing. If you want to see those 20 moves, that video is right here.